Welcome to Toffee TV. It's your comments for the Liverpool game, of course. A typical Merseyside derby resulting in Everton losing. We're used to that. Big thanks for Joe for doing the graphics for us as always. He's had to weed through a lot of Liverpool comments, gloating of course. Probably wouldn't even know where the big stand was, but you know, the first place they come is our YouTube account. Of course, you know, if we won a Merseyside derby, I'm sure we'd be out on the ale and celebrating and having good times. No, they come straight to our YouTube comments, so well done to you. So nice one to Joe for weeding them out. Everton 1 says, Liverpool aren't much better than us. We just have the wrong mentality. Every time we play them, bottle jobs at Anfield, but hey ho, still think positive about the future. Yeah, you're right mate, something I said yesterday. I just think that when we turn up, we just don't play like we do. It's mad. It's like anyone who watched us yesterday, anyone who watched half of our players, anyone who looked at Ross Barkley, Joel Robles, they'll look at them and go, I thought these were supposed to be good. Tom Davies, even Garner yesterday, everyone would have gone, I thought these were supposed to be good. Why do we do it? Why do we just thought Lukaku, been on an amazing run of form, turns up and it's just like, doesn't even have a shot. I don't know, I don't get it. We need a stink. Money Mad 1878 says, comments from the manager was shocking post-match. How can he be proud of that performance? As for Lukaku and Barkley, sell them both. They don't suit us for the money. We can get rid of them. We will be able to benefit the club a lot more. Big difference is the attitudes. Their attitude is miles better than us. And as for Koeman having a go at Klopp for being over the top, that's just pure passion. I wish Koeman was like that. The one decent play for us today was Dominic Calvert-Lewin. His strength, power, his touch, his pace, his play till the end of the season. Now he looks another quality acquisition, mate. I'm just gonna have to disagree with you with like 80% of what you've just said. I'm sorry. The manager, his comments were a bit Martin-esque, but with a game in 3 days, there's no point throwing the team under the bus. No point. If he give them instructions and they try to do that, then all right. All right. The stuff with Klopp, I understand that's nonsense. Lukaku and Barkley, well Lukaku was just dead quiet and yeah. Barkley on the other hand was the other way. He did try to do too much I think and just went a bit over the top and never played his natural game. He needs to learn from that. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Dominic Calvert-Lewin did for the team. I don't know what his role was. I don't think he had a bad game, I just don't know what he contributed. Now maybe that's because the whole team was moved round because it was supposed to be wing backs and the wing backs never got forward. That forced him wide rather than playing closer to Rom. The whole team just seemed to be pulled apart, which it shouldn't. It should all just play its game and it didn't. It's a bigger problem than just a couple of players. It is a mentality thing that we need to massively change at the club, massively. Ruben Marshall says Lukaku was disappointing. If he wants to play for a Champions League club, he has to score goals in the big games. It was a couple of years. It will be a couple of years till we win at Anfield. A couple of years, yeah. Lukaku, I think you're absolutely right. We said this in the build-up. If he wants to say he's a top-class Champions League player, go out and prove it. We said go make yourself a hero in the derby. Prove you are Champions League worthy. Now his argument will be that he got very little service, which is true. He did get very little service, but now and again you've got to bully the opposition, be up for it, look like you're going to take them to bits. He didn't really do that, did he? He just didn't look arse, to be honest. He looked like he was like, well, it's not really. I'm not going to put me heart and soul on the line. Which was more disappointing because at the end of the day he's an Everton player. Patrick Dempsey says Pennington seriously struggling in that first half. Koeman didn't see that and change it while it was a 2-1. Beyond me to slow react while game was in balance, and Holgate at wing back never looked comfortable and completely stifled Everton's attack. Should have been sorted at half time. I think you're right. Listen, the manager likes Pendleton. I'm not so sure about him, but what he is he's very much like sort of in the mould of Jags. So if you've got him, Jags and Williams, that's 3 centre-halves that are not very mobile. And every time Coutinho cut in, Pennington looked like an old man with a broken hip, I'll be honest with you. He just couldn't, for a young lad, I know he's had a serious injury, but for a young lad, the fact that he got done every time is massively disappointing. Like, the fact that he didn't learn from the first one to show him the outside and push him wide is terrifying. And I think that's a sign that he might just be another one of those centre-backs that looks great at under 23 level or reserve level, but when it comes to playing with the big boys, mightn't be there. But you're right, the manager should have changed it. For me, he should have started with Holgate. Holgate's played in the 3 this season and looked very comfortable with Williams and Foons Murray. He's got pace. He can play with the ball. The 3 we looked at the back just looked so short of pace and so ragged that it just never worked. And Holgate ended up having to play almost as a right back. Well, pretty much as a right back, because the 3 were doing so poorly. So it just never worked, let's be honest. Johnny says, just a question for Baz or Ped. Hello. Are you happy with your manager having a Twitter spat the day before a Merseyside derby? Love you guys, by the way, MLS's boss. I'm not really arsed. He wasn't playing, and I'm sure actually for the manager, the night before the game is switch off time. I'm sure he's already got his team picked. I'm sure that's where he starts to relax, because as a manager, if you're going into the day of the match and you're worrying about what's going on, what your team is, I don't think that's a good sign. So hopefully it switched off by then. But I mean, you're right, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. Blue Toffee says Barkley's not good enough for Everton, let alone Spurs or Man City. I'd have to massively disagree there, because I think Barkley in the last 3 or 4 months has been excellent. I think he's been a real catalyst. What we seen yesterday is, for me, he went in like a bull in a china shop, and he never played his natural game. Actually, Barkley's the type of player who might be better for a Man City or for a Spurs, because he's got better players around him. I hope we don't find that out. I hope that we get those better players and we get to see that. But for me, Barkley he was stupid. It wasn't for the lack of trying or the lack of... You've seen him second half. He got his head straight and started playing some lovely little through balls, and there was one to Holgate that never quite... Holgate never made the most of, but he went into it far too wound up. Far too wound up. And I think that's something he's going to have to learn. We've seen that with Gerrard earlier on in his derby career, but it was really early on, and he settled down and he started just playing his game. Barkley's got to start doing that. These are the things that make good players great players. Playing the game, not the occasion. And I think that's what Ross got wrong. But week in and week out, he's been good for us. And listen, you know, what are we judging him by here? If he's week in, week out good for us, then he's a good player. Alright, maybe he's not like top class. If he's not top class, doesn't mean he's not good enough for us. But we need to look at the difference it's made since we put Snidland next to him, since we put a little bit of a change of shape. He's been excellent. So let's not just panic and throw, you know, baby out with the bathwater. Rob Mendoza says, this team is an embarrassment, and I'm sick and tired of our big players choking every chance they get in the big games. I would say last year was an embarrassment. I'd say this year was a massive disappointment. Last year they all went missing and they couldn't care less. This year, I thought, don't forget how many players we had missing for this game. And I'm not saying they didn't have players missing, but I think they've got a better squad than us. We had, look at the players we had who come in for a big game. Even think about Jags. Jags has only got back into the team recently. We'd all wrote him off, and suddenly he's back in the team. A couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of having Jags. Yesterday, Jags had to babysit a kid. That's how things have turned around recently in squad-wise, where we've got players. So, yeah, but overall, we need to get rid of that mentality massively. Gold Rover 6 says we were clueless as expected. We scored from a corner. Other than that, it was a mess. Lukaku was just a goal hanger. In a derby game, you cannot just be in your position. He was moaning very early on in the match. Living in this city and having the piss taken out of you twice yearly by Liverpool fans is getting hard to take. I think it's getting easier to take, if I'm honest, because it just happens that often. I think the problem with this derby is we bigged ourselves up a little bit. We had high expectations and they just flapped again. But you're right about Lukaku. He can't talk the talk if he's not going to walk the walk. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to stop anyone coming in for him. It'll just lower the price, if anything, which is annoying. But we need to start getting players who like playing in derbies, and that's what big players do, and that's what we hope we'll sign in the summer, is players that love the occasion. That's what makes great players great. They love the occasion. They stick out their chest and they go, fuck you, basically. And they love it, and when people are giving them loads, they just run past them. How many times have we seen Liverpool players score past us and do all that? Because they don't care. They don't care. They take all the stick and they suck it up. Our players seem to take the stick and take it, and it weighs on their shoulders, and that's the problem. Aspects Arts says, bottle it is right. The mental thing running through the club, no matter who plays or is in charge when it comes to the shite. I was 38 when it came out of the shithole with us winning. Now I'm 56 and we ain't won since. You're right, it runs right through, and I suppose that's something Koeman's trying to change. He's not going to change it straight away. He's trying to change it. Having all those kids in the team didn't really help, and it was like a mix of the old and the new, and we need to just get like really good players who are on it. Mentally you can take it. Callum96 says, this game was an absolute disaster for us. Injuries or not, we played like a Martinez side. Lukaku went missing. The whole game was probably going to come out and say he wants out again. He just bottled it again. I think we were evenly matched going into it, but they just opened us up and intimidated our players. Fair play to Pennington for scoring, though. Season's not over, we'll bounce back. The difference is, it was billed as Mane versus Lukaku. Mane turned up. That's number one. The only thing I have to say, positive-wise, is we didn't get any sendings off, which was what I was worried about. That Ross would get himself sent off, and then you're thinking, well, we get beaten, we've lost a player. Maybe that's the only positive. We didn't get any more injuries, I think. Touch wood. So, yeah. Max Barlow says, we just isolated Lukaku. We didn't bring on the right substitute to half-time. Actually, we brought on none. That was the problem. Morales was the best player when he came on and had a shot sometimes. Something Rom couldn't apply. I totally agree with you about Morales. I think he should have started the game. I think Morales is one player who actually doesn't fear derbies. I think he's always up for derbies, and I think you've got to play on that. You've got to know that as a manager. You've got to know who's up for a game and who isn't. And for me, Morales loves derbies and wants to play in them. And yet we did isolate Rom. It doesn't excuse the fact that he was crap, but how many times have we said this now? Romelu Lukaku needs a partner. But maybe yesterday the plan was to have Calvert-Lewin as his partner, but he got stretched wide because the wing-back weren't getting forward. But then that's on the manager to change that early and see that and get the shape. Maybe he should have gone to a, 4 at the back earlier on, and just it's buts and maybes, isn't it now? Mr. Jevman says, there's no characters, no leaders, unless it changes, we're destined to lose this fixture forever. I absolutely agree, and like I've just said about Morales, Morales is a player who's always up for derbies. It's funny because last season Martinez wouldn't play Leon Osman in a derby because he said he was too emotionally attached and would get too wound up and probably get himself sent off. They're the players we do need in derbies. We need players who know what it's all about and up for it. Okay, you could say maybe that's what Ross was doing yesterday, but Ross hasn't had a good derby performance yet to sort of take into the next one. Leon Osman, don't forget, scored, and Morales currently scored in the derby. He's been up for derbies, he's kicked players, he seems to love it. We don't have any players at the moment that embrace it, that love it, that have tasted the glory and want to take that into the next one. That's what we miss massively at the moment, and that's what we've got to find. And they're your comments from the Merseyside derby. I'm sure we could have had a lot more severe ones, and I probably could have just done a Liverpool fan special if we wanted to, but nah, we'll leave that for now. So yeah, thanks for all your comments, thanks for being in touch, thanks for watching Toffee TV, we'll see you later.